James was feeling miserable. He had let the Fat Controller down again. Oh, he moaned. If only I hadn't been so helpful. If someone else was in my place and helped the Express instead. Then I wouldn't be here, rotting away. If only someone could help me get out of this mess. If only. Luckily for James, Percy was ready to take that title. He was ready to rescue James from his misery. He was deemed to talk to the Fat Controller about why James was in the shed. He puffed into the station. Thomas was there already, waiting for his passengers to board. "Hi, Percy," he greeted him. "Who are you after?" "I'm looking for the Fat Controller," said Percy. "Is he in his office?" "No," replied Thomas. "The lights aren't on. He isn't there." Percy puffed away sadly. "Ah," he sighed. "Where could he be? Where could he be?" he thought to himself. He had no luck. By the end of the day, he had to finish all of his jobs. Otherwise, the Fat Controller would definitely be looking for him. He barely made it back to the sheds by midnight. James was still awake. "Where were you?" he bellowed. "Shh!" shushed Percy. "Everyone's asleep. Did you tell the Fat Controller about me?" "I was busy, James. I haven't seen him all day." "Nice try, Percy. I saw you puffing around, wasting time, as usual." "I have not!" cried Percy. "How dare you? I was looking for him all day." Okay, Percy. You did try. Can try again tomorrow?" "Okay," replied Percy. "I will." Percy was late waking up the next morning. "Where are my goods trains?" he asked. "I told the other engines that you came late last night," replied James. "If you do a favor for me, I'll do one for you." Percy was pleased that James was very kind to him. He puffed into the yard and he saw a top hat. It was moving. Probably the top hat speaking to someone. "I'd better catch him," Percy thought. He stopped in shock. "Ah, Percy," smiled the top hat. "This is Rebecca, the merchant class Navy engine. She's going to help you out on the mail train, since you can't handle more than 6 fans. This is only temporary, and let's hope she'll do it well." But what am I going to do, sir?" asked Percy. "You can up on the branch line, and you can still do your normal night mail services once a week." Percy couldn't speak. He didn't listen to the top hat at all. A newer, faster, better engine was replacing it. How dare she? Percy forgot all about James and started to fume. He started to hate Rebecca, and he went off to shunt some trucks. He was very vigorous with the trucks, and he bumped them around very crossly. The trucks tittered quietly. "He's cross," they said. "Let's play a trick on him." They held their brakes hard, but as Percy was still fuming, he bumped them so hard that one of the trucks banged into the other one and they both flew off the rails into a messy heap. Percy was horrified. He quickly ran off. Emily had just woken up and saw the commotion. She didn't know it was Percy though, and he ran off down the branch line. He soon stopped at the station, very puffed out. He saw Rebecca coming in the opposite direction. "Hi, Percy," she called, but Percy didn't want to talk to her. Not ever. That night, Sir Topham Hatt came to address the 5 engines. James was already asleep, so he didn't know. "Today, there has been an accident in the yard," he announced. "We do not know who took them, but Emily, with quick thinking, she took the trucks away with the breakdown gang before any other engine arrived. I'm glad to say that Emily is working well as our new rescue engine. Good night, everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow." And he walked away. Percy knew if he owned up, he would be in big trouble. So, the next day, he would have to go and get his mail train very, very early. And he did just that. He was like literally the first person to race out, although he was like the 5th person to get up that day. He rushed into the yard and collected his trucks. The shunter quickly fastened the coupling and Percy set off. Unluckily for him though, he had filled up on the wrong coal. Well, it was the right coal. It was the coal with just some substance in it. Someone with the brains must have had something to do that. It was glitter, and it started showering from his funnel. "Hi, Percy," said Thomas cheekily. "Have you had a nice accident?" Percy thought he was referring to the accident he had yesterday, and puffed quickly through the station, spraying glitter all over Thomas. "Oh no! Shutters and smoke!" screamed Thomas. "What is that?" He was furious with Percy. But Percy laughed. He didn't have much to laugh about though, as he puffed through the next station. There was a baggage on the line sticking out dangerously close. Percy hit the baggage, and it hit an unstable water tower, and the water tower crashed onto Ed with the water spraying out everywhere. "Well," gasped Edward, I always needed a wash. I was covered in soot." Percy raced down the rails. He didn't have time to say sorry to Edward as he was too far for him to hear him. But he had to worry about one more thing though. There was a red signal up ahead. Henry was coming in the opposite direction. Henry's found out and his brakes started screeching. Percy did as well. But Henry stopped just in time. Percy did as well, but banged into him. The jolt shook Henry up, and he began to sneeze. "Achoo!" Percy quickly ran off. Percy backed down the line to the next set of points and hid along Thomas's branch line. And after he had finished his mail run, he ran quickly back to the yards where he stayed for the whole day. Later that day, Thomas had just finished his last branch line run. He was still covered in glitter, though he had washed most of it off. He quickly shunted Annie and Clarabelle away, and then backed onto the turntable. "Hello, Percy," he mumbled. "Ha ha 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 ha," laughed Percy. "Had a glittery time, Thomas?" Thomas didn't have the strength to argue. He said something else instead. "Look, Percy, we've all had enough of your shenanigans. I'm covered in glitter, Edward is soaked, and Henry's sneezing his smoke box off." "Wait, what? I didn't do it that bad." "Oh," cried Thomas sarcastically. Oh, you had nothing to do with it, yeah? After all the tricks you've been playing today, yeah? Look what you've done to me. You seriously had nothing to do with it." Yeah, go Percy. Thomas was absolutely furious. Percy sensed this and quickly ran off, and Thomas chased behind him. Percy quickly decided that he had had enough. He literally ran off down the main line and hid. Thomas didn't know which way he went. Oh my goodness, he really is. Where did he go? He growled. Percy was running off down the main line, but this time he didn't want to hide anywhere and crossed the Vicarstown Bridge. A few days later, James was finally let out of the sheds once more, but he wasn't allowed to pull any forms of important transport. He thought this was all Percy's fault and wanted to kill him as soon as possible. But after searching for him for a few days, it was clear that nobody could find him. Not even James. And soon, James's anger turned to sadness. He knew that Percy wanted to help him. But why? Why did Percy want to disappear?